Welcome back to Dynamic Character Productions. This is the episode 7 and 8 recap of DCP Survivor's second long game, Monte Carlo. I'm back again. I'm your host, Trias, and today is a production meeting, sort of. We got two of Prod, one a former player, and in Greg, and obviously our co-host for the minis and editor, McKenna Feeney. How are you both doing with this season so far?
I'm loving it.
Yeah, I'm really liking it. It's fun to watch a long game and not be in it. It's like really nice to watch these guys like navigate everything going through. It's really fun to watch. My former castmates Victoria and Connor finally make the merge. Shout out to the two of them. Great job. I'm really enjoying the season. It's great.
Yeah, and of course I had to weasel my way into this recap, being there's a mini round in this group of episodes, so I was like, I gotta talk mini. So
yeah, of course. It's a packed 2 episodes, and it's sort of funny having you on, Greg, because it's sort of a history repeating itself with the vote outs here. Not in terms, well, we get an Andrew merge boot, and and then someone else from the majority tribe or OG tribe going, and we see this minority tribe flourishing.
Yeah, I'm loving it. Really rooting for the Sapone people right now.
Yeah, they got that good energy. But so we start with episode 7. I'm coming for the king. Quote from Mike. And that's really what the whole premise of this episode is. We are about to go into the merge. We get some insight from Parker, which is like, it was a good thing hearing from him here at the beginning, because it really encapsulates what he was doing very well at, but also what eventually became like his undoing, because he sort of says it himself, is like, when you stretch your loyalty out to everyone, you're not truly loyal anymore, because you can't be. And he doesn't have the excuse of like, oh, I just don't want to work with you, because most of the people that he didn't want to work with were already gone. And Parker just has a very like insightful mind, I feel. So it's very interesting having him like narrate that thought process to the viewer. It was like a great placement to start out the episode.
Yeah, I thought so too. It's like a self-acknowledgement that he probably played too well in the merge, in the pre-merge, and that like he was probably gonna have some trouble in the merge. And it was great watching him win the trivia challenge, the immunity challenge right off the bat. But yeah, no, like that first confessional from him really kind of laid out what his problems were, and we didn't really get to see him fix the problem. It kind of his pre-merge game kind of bit him in the ass, I think it looked like.
Yeah, and he said in his like preseason video that he sent us, and it was in the draft, he wanted to be like Mr. Average, Mr. Right. Like just likable, skate on through, no worries, and that's exactly what he was, but he did that just too well for his own good.
Right. And like ultimately I feel the big thing that sort of pushed him into this spot was the most recent vote, where Kyle goes, with him not looking like attempting to help Mike out after Serpone helped him and Margaret out. They didn't feel the favor was returned. So you sort of get the reasoning why both of them, in Margaret and Parker, suddenly became targets when the flip happens, because they didn't have the opportunity to really show like, hey, you scratched my back, I'm gonna stab yours instead, but we good. And I'm not making that implication on both of them. They're great people. It was just like they just didn't have that opportunity, or they didn't see the opportunity. I still think there was a possibility there that I said it last recap, if Michael was more available that round, I think there definitely could have been a flip where someone like Connor goes, or maybe even the flip happens early and Andrew goes. It depends.
I mean, we all know Michael, he's the flipper. So if you need someone to flip for a vote, it's definitely Michael.
Although not for this one, right? Like for this first vote, he stuck with what he thought was the Ru-Ken plan. He voted for Victoria in this round.
I don't think he was let into the other plan.
No, he was not aware of it at all.
Got it.
At least that's my understanding, was he was completely left in the dark on that vote. But we now get everyone coming out. They see Kyle's out and they're like, everyone, for third straight time, drop your buffs. We are changing it up again, but we get a fake out. It's now they are one tribe. They are merged. They are gold. I love gold. It's great for Monte Carlo because that's what you want to earn. And
coins,
they are now the Fouquet tribe.
Yes. Oh, Seal tribe.
And no, Connor, I'm not going to pronounce it the way that you told me I should pronounce it. So
yes.
But I liked that they kept with the theme from the pre-merge tribe names being, French pronunciations of animals that we related to kind of the casino and gambling. I don't really know where seals fall into that, but I like the name. I like the creativity.
Well, we now are going into our first challenge as individuals, and it's head-to-head Survivor trivia. I love this format because you hear Andrew say it afterwards, and it's the complete reason why we do it. It shows some cards, and it can show very clearly how some people want to handle the beginning of the merge in the individual game, and we see a lot of Serpone people picking, getting picked off, but the OG tribes kept swinging at one another. And I have all the notes on how they all went. I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Michael gets the first one right.
Yep.
McKenna moves on without answering because Mike gets it wrong. Andrew guesses right on the one season that he knows. McKenna guesses wrong. Kiley guesses wrong. Victoria guesses wrong. Will guesses wrong after Jonathan refuses to guess. And we'll get into that.
A Robbie play.
Yeah, Robbie play there. Parker gets it right. Then Andrew guesses wrong, and then ultimately Parker gets the second one right and wins the first individual immunity. And it's it's a big thing for him because he met all of us through when McKenna and Nick did the Survivor trivia. Then he found out that we do the games. He applied for the game, and then while he never won trivia for that, he finally got to win trivia and also win immunity in the org.
Yeah, the funny thing is the two people who have beaten him in trivia being Elijah and Kyle pre-merge, so he can now shine. Connor is also another person that we have met through trivia, but he's known for going far into the negatives with answering questions. So I knew once this challenge was here and Parker was still around, he had it in the bag. But what was good for him, also not good for him, I don't know how you want to phrase it, but he didn't have to show all of his Survivor trivia knowledge right off the bat, because I know for some people that in itself can be threatening. But then also he was left basically till last with never being picked.
And he even called it out himself. I mean, in the challenge, that's great. It got him further in the challenge. He only had to answer 2 questions right, got the win. He's safe. But then he immediately was like, I made it a little too far into this without getting picked. People might now look at that as, that might make people suspicious. So that might kind of open up people's eyes to the fact that Parker has a lot of good connections, which he did. And he acknowledged that himself. So you're right. There's a bit of a catch-22 with the results.
That win, yeah.
And then let's talk about Jonathan here. He does do similar to Robbie, where he was just like, I'm just not answering. And I'm holding true to what I was saying. I'm pretty sure that I said during the Sahara Dunes coverage was, if someone was telling me during that round and I also didn't know,
take them out with you.
Yeah, I'm, you're going with me then. So, or I'm coming with you because I won't answer either.
Yep. That's what I think there were 2 instances. One, maybe it was McKenna and Victoria guessed and got it wrong. I want to say, is that right?
She said Palau, yeah.
Right. And I was watching that and I was like, you guys are allies. Come on, what, McKenna, if you don't know trivia, and Victoria probably has a little bit more knowledge, like go out, let her go a little bit further. And then same thing. I think there was one question then between with Will and Jonathan, and the question was maybe when was there a merge or a swap at 13?
Yep.
And he guessed Pearl Islands, and I'm sitting there like, Will, you don't know the answer to this one. Like you just said, you don't know the answer. Why guess?
And not
like,
even when you have an
chance of being
educated guess, it's
Right.
like he very much just did not know it.
You're
If you
about to
have
get
an
out. Like take
educated
Jonathan
guess-
down with you.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see that, but I think maybe maybe people are worried about that. Maybe Jonathan, Will might have been worried Jonathan could have taken that the wrong way and wanted to target him for whatever reason. But oh god, yeah, I was really hoping that someone would have just said, "Hey, you're not guessing, I'm not guessing."
All right. Anybody watching this, if you're on a future season and we do this challenge, please take somebody down with you. We want to see it.
Don't do it for the meme though. If you truly don't know and the other person's being difficult, saying I'm not gonna answer, then bring them down with you.
Your place for someone else.
Yeah,
this is Survivor. You want to get to the end here, buddy.
Yeah. So these two challenges were not for Jonathan, even though like he needs to cut himself a little slack on the cups because he almost won that various times between him and McKenna. But overall, I feel like that's like the perfect spot for Jonathan, where he's like, I only got to the end because the other people guessed. They're not seeing me as being like a threat in like performance wise, so that's great for him. Andrew's like, I'm so flattered that everyone keeps picking me, but I don't like that they it's making me come across more as that leader, and I need to figure out how to get other people in the line of fire before me, which ultimately he doesn't do, because I'm pretty sure the only names that he would keep throwing out were only Serpone people, which further cements you are Ruken strong to the core, and that's not everyone else's game plan, as we find out throughout this scramble. Right. So it was a very interesting story to see. This is how Andrew goes, where it's sort of a in his mind, I feel like it's almost like a Caesar moment, where he gets betrayed by his own people. Well, most of them.
Oh, Margaret has a confessional. I forget if it's in the episode 7 or 8, where she's just like, I would have liked to like talk about it, but Andrew is just so forceful that it was Victoria that like we just went with it, and I didn't want it, but like, well,
right. And that's Andrew's own downfall, and he had a great exit interview, and he touched on it during that as well, was that like he wanted to go Ruken strong, but he didn't check back in with like half of Ruken to make sure that they were in with him. That's and it was really, I know I believe Kiley also flipped on it, but Connor and Will were both like easy, like they didn't really think about it. It seemed like they were like, oh cool, like Andrew's on the table, yeah, we're on board with that. And if Andrew had spent even a little bit of time with either of them, reassuring the two of them that Andrew wanted to work with them later in the game, I don't know if they would have flipped.
Yeah,
he could have made it much further.
It's the constant, like, you can't just talk to the people that you like the most. And I think Andrew was sort of getting caught in that, where he just wanted to hang out with Parker and Margaret and Kiley. Like, that's who he wanted to talk to, that's who he wanted to hang out with. And like, it's so easy to get caught in that trap in these games, because especially when you get into a place where you feel comfortable, then it's like, I don't need to do that other work because maybe other people are doing it for me. I can just relax, have fun in my seat of power, and then suddenly you're dethroned. But that's where Kiley comes into play, where Kiley, I'm like, obviously it's working out for her so far doing the flip, but there is an issue with making change for the sake of making change. Like, it's one thing to not be complacent, but it's also like, is that the actual smart move? Because I feel ultimately Kiley shouldn't have taken this shot, but
not at Andrew, maybe Ruken, but like not Andrew for her specifically.
Right. Andrew was a loyal to Kiley, and like, if you want to get to the end with Mike, like, it's almost as if she thinks, oh, by taking Andrew out here, it stops people from targeting Mike. And like it's like her big focus is, and she said it last week during the episodes, and she essentially said it here, it's like, for better or worse for her game, her objective is saving Mike, and keeping Mike in the game.
But I would have understood the flip if Ruken was saying, let's go after Mike. And then, you know, the Serpones are saying, let's go after Andrew or something. Then I would have understood, all right, she's picking between two allies. Mike is her closer ally. See you later, Andrew. But here they were going after Victoria. And Mike's name was tossed around, but it seemed to be.
It's always tossed around.
Right. But it seemed to be off the table pretty quickly. And especially with Andrew being really, you know, vocal about wanting it to be Victoria, I was actually really surprised that Kiley made the flip. It's great TV. It's fun TV to watch, you know, Blindside and to watch, you know, a power shift. But I don't know if it's going to be great for her gameplay.
Yeah, but we do also see the subtlety in it where she's someone who was able to recognize what Andrew wanted to do, and then would sort of just feed into that fire so then it would like really engulf into a true flame. And then Andrew just starts marching forward because now he's like been reassured by someone that he trusts. And I was like, now this little seed of an idea is now the full plan. That's the plan. That's where I'm going. And once you had that plan, from what I noticed with Andrew was he wasn't going to deter from it. So I think ultimately like that was the other issue with flipping or not flipping. Because say you went after a Connor or a Will that were mentioning Mike's name at the time, or a Michael, you weren't going to get Andrew to flip yet. So it was almost like get rid of the person who refuses to move and then figure it out later. It's like that trade-off. And we'll see as we move forward if it's working. For now, it is. But yeah, and we see like Mike also is like, this is a shitty position for us with Serpone. Good, and like I'm going to just do what I can, spread as many names as possible, start weaving that chaos in. And I need that king dethroned today. I want that crown. It looks nice. I think it'll look better on my head.
Yeah, that was a fun confessional. I thought especially episode 7 was a great episode for Mike. And I thought like kind of where the chaos didn't really make sense for Kiley from my perspective, it totally makes sense for Mike here. And he was even saying like, he was like, I could go out here, which he knew it was an option, but he's like, I'm not going to go out quiet. I'm going to make a fuss. I'm going to shake things up one way or another. And I think for him, it actually might be more beneficial. I think it might actually work for him, because we even see Will and Mike. I can't remember if it was 7 or 8, but Will and Mike start talking, and it really seems like they're kind of getting on the same page, or at least kind of starting something. I can't remember if they were ever on a tribe before.
No, they were
not even at the first vote, right?
Will just kept winning.
Right. Yeah. So it was nice to see them kind of, and I think that's like the effects of the One World thing, where it's like at the very beginning, the marooning, you know, you had little inklings of a relationship with some people, and now that we're at the merge, you can really start to explore those if you think that, you know, your first impression of someone was something you want to try again.
Absolutely. Then we also get the reveal of Victoria and Jonathan coming back together. They are back to working as number ones with each other. We also get the other reveal as Andrew's like gloating, like, we have this super majority. The only thing that could potentially happen is if someone has an advantage and plays it correctly. Cut to Victoria. I can't believe I found the idol.
Yeah, he's like, the Ruken has the majority, like there's no way 3 Serpones, because he's kind of counting Jonathan in with Ruken because he swapped onto Ruken. 3 Serpones can take out this like massive group of people. It's just not gonna happen. And then Victoria's just like suck it.
Exactly. Which is I love this pairing, and it also like sheds more light into, yes, Jonathan doesn't want Mike in the game long term, but he's a smart player. He understands numbers, and he's like, there's no reason for the force opponent to actually go against each other in this time. But we're going to do everything in our power to make all of Ruken feel like Jonathan is still in the outs, so that he can be that feeder of information and he can relay it back to McKenna and Victoria and Mike. and they can start controlling things. And I thought that's like the fact that they were able to pull that off successfully these first 2 rounds is very good. It's very good for all of Serpone that's still in the game.
Yeah, agree. And I another thing about the Jonathan and Victoria connection that we saw, I loved when Victoria was debating whether or not to play her idol, and Jonathan had said, was really trying to tell her not to, and I think had said, he'll take his glasses off at Tribal as his little signal for her to play it if she's in danger. So I'm really looking forward. I'm really hoping that we either see Jonathan do that, like use that in some way to either trick Victoria or to actually use it successfully. But it was really nice that, she got to keep her idol. She wasn't really in danger of going home here. So I'm excited that the idol is still in the game, and hopefully we get some good comeuppance.
So I will
use that somehow.
So I will bring it up. It wasn't shown in the episodes, but it definitely happened. I did his confessionals for the mini round in episode 8. And that's the episode where he was like, I will take the glasses off. Don't play your idol. He was in confessional earlier that round talking to me saying, I want Victoria to play it wrong. I want her to lose this idol so that I could potentially gain it, because I would assume it would go back into play. So but I think he had to change of heart in the moment once he saw it was like a clear vote. And because like we hear from him saying how if you're building a resume that's better than mine, if you're winning games, if you're getting idols and playing successfully, then you need to go. I think he still sees value in having Victoria as an ally for a deep stretch. So I think ultimately he made the decision of, instead of making her burn the idol and play it incorrectly, he's like, I can control this idol.
Yeah.
And
it's a right call on Jonathan's part.
Oh yeah.
Victoria seems very loyal to him. Like,
and would
really
probably play it on him if need be as well.
Totally could. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I think she says to herself during the tribal, during the merge tribal, or when she's pitching for why she should stay if it's ultimately a Serpone person that has to go, she's like, I think I've shown that I'm loyal constantly in both games that I played, and like I feel like I'm pretty predictable. And once you want someone who's predictable in the game, and I think that sort of rings the bell for why Jonathan's working with Victoria, is because he knows he can trust her and he can predict her moves most likely before she makes them. Right. So it's an amazing ally to have in the game, and also it's not a bad enemy to have in the game because you will very clearly know where she lies.
Right. But part of me is hoping, and knowing Victoria, I don't think that this is true, but part of me is hoping by her saying that she's predictable, that like she's just like kind of tricking everybody. Like that's just like tribal council, like theatrics. And I'm hoping that she's going to start becoming more unpredictable, because I think if she continues to be predictable, people might kind of view her either as like not a big threatening player or someone that they could kind of get rid of at any time. Whereas I'm really hoping that she, finds that fight to completely flip things around at some point and does something fun and crazy.
So I sort of feel like it's both true. Like what you just said and what I said are very accurate for Victoria. I think she is a predictable player, but I think she's deciding when to say that in strategic placements. Like she's not just saying it just to downplay herself. She's saying it because she's trying to survive, but like she's willing to cut people. Like we've seen the confessionals where she's like, I am loyal to these people, but if they try to start messing with names, I will flip on them. Right. So we are seeing that growth from her, and ultimately we get through this tribal. It's an epic 7-3-1 blindside on Andrew, who even during his final words almost got it all right on all the names that flipped on him. Still believes that Kiley did not flip because he was reading their face.
Would do it.
He's like, I was looking at their face. They did not look like they were in on it. She was in on it. Narrator.
For sure.
But Andrew's our 7th person voted out, first member of the jury, and hey,
keeps it canon. Andrews are our mayors of Ponderosa.
Yeah. I'm sorry for any future Andrews in our upcoming long games.
You will be the first juror.
That's the next curse that needs to be broken.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's sort of fun though. It's sort of like there's an irony to it where he was considered the king of Ruken, and now he's the mayor of Ponderosa.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
There's only one There's only one placement. But that wraps up episode 7. That brings us into episode 8, which is survival mode, which is Michael who says that. I know Ian also mentioned that it could have been called raise the roof bitches. But so we start out, we get more Jonathan Victoria conversation, which leads to me that they are going to be a focal point moving forward if we're getting those specific one-on-one times, because we got it for 2 straight episodes now that they're finally back together. This, and they just sort of rehash the whole round, and they go, well, Andrew was the one throwing my name out, even though he was telling me other people were. And then Margaret came to me and told me to my face that she said my name, so I want her gone. Mm-hmm. And this is where this Margaret obsession seeds from. Yes. It's all this stuff is like perfect storm moments. Like Andrew goes out because it's this perfect storm of Serpentine trying to find a name that they can target, Mike clearly wanting to go straight for the head, and Will and Connor also contemplating before Mike even approaches them, saying this might be the round, like this might be where we need to break off. And then Kiley also not wanting to be complacent. It was like this perfect storm. Yep. And now we have this other perfect storm of the betrayal of Parker and Margaret, quote unquote, for not scratching Serponte's back. And now they have more reasons to want to heighten up Margaret's threat level. And she would have been a goner this week if it wasn't for that clutch win.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I agree.
It is also very interesting listening from Margaret's perspective. Like, she's not an org person. So like, she's like sort of dealing with trying to figure out, like, I like these people. Like, I feel like she puts heart into the votes. Like, she's like, I know they're going to be mad at me, but I hope that we can be friends outside the game. So like, it's like a different perspective than what you normally see, I feel, with some gamers that are just like, I'll cut a bitch. Like, it ain't nothing type of thing. Like,
Margaret's been really fun to watch this whole season. I think she's kind of become one of my favorite players this season, knowing that she's kind of like stumbling around, but she's been playing a pretty good game. And up until, like, had anyone else but Andrew gone at that first vote, she probably would have been in a fine position at the at the top of the merge.
Oh yeah,
really just like this power shift that kind of put her on the bottom of it. And then everyone was like, oh look, she's clearly won a challenge and she's pretty good at them. Like, people really like her. People from the other from the Serpone tribe had kind of clocked Margaret as someone that they liked and potentially wanted to work with. So she's been a really fun character to watch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think for the most part with this cast, it's been fun seeing that, like, it's purely like game reasons that people are taking people out. It's like there's no true emotion behind it. Like, Mike might amp stuff up because he just wants to weave that chaos around. But it's all like
such a good liar. It's so
well, yeah, I don't know.
Want to say, like, I really like watching Mike play. Like, this cast is so good.
But is he a good liar if everyone's saying we can keep him in the game? He lies all the time and we know it. But hey, it's
his
working.
Confidence. It's his confidence. He pulls off the lie.
Yeah. I love someone who has like that good confidence in their, like, just their gameplay and just how they portray it, because it exudes off of you. Like, that is a benefit of Mike's game. And it's like everyone keeps asking, like, well, why does it keep going away from Mike? Like, you keep saying Mike and then suddenly it changes. Like, one, it's Kiley, but two,
Kiley and Michael and Connor have a talk about this, saying like,
right,
it's Andrew and Kiley constantly trying to save Mike here. Isn't that a little suspicious?
Yes, it is.
Oh yeah, it's very interesting. But we also get Will and Connor celebrating the outcome. They know that some enemies were made, but they're like, we will deal with that. And they feel like they're in this very tight 3 situation now with both of them and Kiley. So like, does Kiley feel like there's that tight 3? No, but it is a record to her gameplay where people just want to trust her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's playing a really good social game at the moment. A lot of people, everyone's coming to her with information. They trust her. She doesn't really seem to be standing out too much. I think people are catching on to her, but she's still kind of like under the surface at the moment. And I think she's in a pretty interesting spot.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Which now leads us to our next challenge, and it's Jeremy's challenge.
Craig, plug your ears.
I love this challenge. I think it's very creative and fun and challenging, but god damn it, Jeremy.
You and Parker now have something in common.
Yep. But yeah, it's stacking cups. You have to roll the die to represent the cup, and then you have to get up to 6, have full 6 cups, but you're doing it with a partner, and you keep going back and forth. The 5 pairings are Parker and Michael, Margaret and Kiley, Jonathan and McKenna, Victoria and Connor, and Will and Mike. I had no clue how this round was going to go, but we also get the twist that by the end of tonight, not only will someone win immunity, but someone will also be getting their torch extinguished. Their life in the game is done. Yes. And everyone starts just like, oh crap. Especially Parker, who like understands the mistakes that were made, but because of just the day that he had, didn't have the opportunity to like retrace his steps, like figure out a plan to like reintegrate into the groups. So it was sort of like for him and Margaret, it was sort of we have to win or we are in deep trouble.
Yeah.
It would have been really fun if they were paired up and then won.
Oh,
and then it would have been like
Will would have been like, toast here.
Yeah, maybe, but because it seemed like Margaret and Kiley wound up winning the challenge. Congratulations to the two of them. It is a tough challenge, and it seemed a long challenge.
It was total about a half an hour.
That's a long challenge.
Yeah.
But yeah, then it did kind of seem like Parker's fate was more or less sealed, because right at the beginning of the scramble rooms, which by the way, I think it was really fun to see like 10 people scramble here in the long game. In Exile Island, I think we did it final 6. So it's, a little less going on here. I think there was more scrambling, more jumping around. A lot of alliances still active. But I think we hear, is it Will right at the top of the scramble room?
It really like that isn't out of order at all. Literally, we all went into the production, went into their breakout rooms, hit record, and Will gets in with these
like shot
people, and it's just like Parker.
Yeah.
And that's it.
It's also very interesting. So we go through the whole challenge. Kiley and Margaret win. Jonathan's pissed to holy hell that they won. One because him and McKenna were like a cup away from winning on several occasions.
And Victoria and Connor were also there too. But I feel like Victoria was probably more pissed off than anybody too, because she was like, I've had 6 multiple times. It's Connor who's dropping it.
He's so good at stacking cups.
But yes, it's so they win immunity. Margaret correctly goes like, I don't know if this was must win, but regardless, safety feels amazing right now. I was like, oh, sweetie, yeah, you did need that. Like, girl, you needed that safety around your neck. Just like we need air to breathe. Like, that's how badly you needed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jonathan's pissed just because like he can't get his agenda done. His agenda was Margaret. Like, he didn't want to vote out Parker, but it was like when you were on the outside of the vote and people don't see Michael as like a big enough name to take out, even though he was left out of the vote. It sort of just like came down to like that, and then Parker's just like, well, crap. Will.
I mean, it was kind of amazing how quickly Parker's game crumbled and fell apart in like a really tragic and sad way, because I was also rooting for him too. He's really fun to watch, but between, it seemed like at the beginning of episode 7 he was in a really great spot, even like halfway through he's in a really good spot, and then like episode 8 rolls around and it's Yeah,
I think he was just one of those names where it's just like they were on the outs and like Margaret.
And it's also just like you had the right people in the room with Will. Like, you had Mike in the room who has had like an issue because Parker didn't try to help him and Kyle. So it's sort of like you gave that name to him, and then him and Kiley are always going to be lined up. Like that's the other thing. I'm like, Kiley, like Parker was actually so loyal to you. Like he knew you were a threat, but like
The
he
Texas
wasn't doing
Alliance.
anything about it. But now she was like, I made the move. I have to do this now. And it's just such a shame with Parker because like from a production aspect, I know like a lot of us right when the merge hit, we like sort of made our own like individual rankings of how we felt people were going into it. It wasn't necessarily like who was going to win, but just like, oh, these people feel just like very secure. And almost all of us had Parker. It's like top three, like safest people. And then here we are. So that's the game of Survivor, people. Like even with Pride, it's like we'll see something, but the littlest things can happen and your game's
just
done.
Means it was a great move. You know, if he was kind of perceived as the safest, whoever can claim credit for pulling that move off, or you know, the couple people who might be able to claim credit, like great move. Total props to them.
He might not have gone home maybe if it wasn't a mini round either. So like
that's true.
The fact that it was all in half an hour might have also been detrimental to him as well, where like he might be able to talk to some people and try and get that capital back with those people that he might have lost with the miscommunications and stuff like that.
Right.
So
because like you had Victoria and Jonathan who ideally they didn't want Parker to go yet.
Right.
A lot of people wanted Mike to go home at this vote and just didn't have the pull. Like Michael and Connor both wanted Mike to go out here and they're like, we have no time and don't have the pull.
Yep.
Yes. So it was dropped very quickly. But it was like sort of fun when like the little aspects like McKenna and Mike popping in. They're like, oh, okay, so I think it's Parker. Yeah. Have you heard my name? No. I don't think either of our names have been picked. No Serpone names have been mentioned. Great. And then they just leave.
That like little like
love you, goodbye.
Interaction was great. Yeah, they're like, love you, bye. It was great. So like I really liked one thing I loved about the scramble round is because you only have like a short period of time with anyone, especially if you're managed to get into a one-on-one conversation.
That's magic.
Like, really let your like their relationship like is just gets to be shown, and not just the two of them, really anyone that happened to. You really get a glimpse of like how they're interacting with each other and how much they trust each other based on what they're saying and the amount of time that they have. Another thing I loved was watching Michael kind of back in his comfort zone in his mini scramble rooms, and he like admitted that he was like, I leave a room once it gets too big. He was like, nothing gets said there. I've been in that situation before. It's like total like the BS session. Like I want to go find a room that's got 2 or 3 other people and like have a legit conversation about what the heck we're gonna do. And I thought that his experience in the mini really got to shine in this episode and in this scramble room. So it was really fun to watch him kind of, even though he's playing a really good long game at the moment, kind of like thrive a little bit in this mini setting.
Right. Yes. Like we see Michael here, and it's the one thing that he truly does understand is he has that awareness factor. He understands his positioning. Like especially like he'll get I was left out of the vote. This is a fast round. I can't like try to force something because then that's an easy excuse to take me out. I just need to buy my time right here and survive.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why he got the episode title.
Yeah, and like he's like, it's really impressive because he you're right. Has the self-awareness to kind of realize where he stands in the game, but he's also totally unfazed by it. He's like, so what? Like, I know where I stand now, but I know what my end goal is, and like I want to get there, and this is part of my plan to get there. So like based on kind of the cards that were dealt to him, pun somewhat intended there. So. I think it was a really fun episode for Michael.
Yeah, so ultimately everything happens. We have the Victoria Jonathan thing that we mentioned with a little bit of the idol freak out, and Jonathan calms Victoria down like, no, you ain't playing that shit. We get through tribal. Parker goes in an 8-2 vote. Only person who votes with him is Margaret.
Mhm.
A duo that lives together, dies together.
Yeah.
And Parker's the 8th person voted out, 2nd member of the jury. He did get to have some things checked off of his Survivor org bucket list, gets his immunity win, makes a merge. He just didn't get an org win here this go around.
My good buddy Parker. It was so sad.
We love Parker.
Parker stands all here.
Yeah. But so at the end of episode 8, we are in now 2 OG Ruken have been taken out. Similar start that we saw in Exile Island.
And we're down to single digits now, right? There's 9.
Yeah, there's 9.
Final 9 moving forward.
Yeah, and McKenna has this confessional where she's like, well, we've taken out 2 Ruken. They're probably going to get a little suspicious here.
Yeah, I think she even said in episode 8, she was like, we might have to take out a Serpone next just to kind of like even things up and not like spook anyone too much. But who knows if she'll actually let that happen.
And the name that she said was Victoria. So we will see.
I'm excited to start seeing some people turn on each other.
Yeah.
Again.
I was about to say, we saw several people turn on each other.
Greg just wants constant chaos.
Yeah, because
Greg wants to be allied with Mike.
Yeah, I mean, I would.
He already was an ally with one Mike. What's another?
Oh God, shouldn't have let that get too far.
Well, in a 2-episode span where we saw a lot of positives for people, it's going to make this round of MVPs a lot trickier because there's so much that people can get. But we do get the results of the audience vote for episodes 5 and 6. They selected Andrew, and that's his 3rd, and I will probably be confident to say last MVP that he'll get this season. But for now, prior to us making any decisions, Andrew has the lead with 3 MVPs for the season.
Yeah, nice. I just want to say, especially watching his exit interview as well, like, does anyone else get a little like Mackenzie vibes from Andrew in a fun way? Like, they're that fun, like unintentionally chaotic player who's like having a great time and kind of discovering everything completely new, like in front of our faces. Because I got that sense, and like I just thought it was really fun.
Yeah, I can see it.
So congrats, Andrew, on your 3rd MVP, but sorry, it's probably your last one.
Yeah. Well, we can start with you, Greg. Who's your MVP for episodes 7 and 8?
Okay. So I am gonna give it to Will. And I want to preface this. I do know Will outside of the game. We're friends IRL. I'm going to his wedding in a month, but I actually do think he played really well here. I thought he flipped at the right time on someone who was not planning to be loyal to him. And then he was the one who I think gets the most credit for the Parker vote. He put it out there and everyone bid it. And, I don't think he played aggressively this round, but I don't think he had to. I think he did what he had to do. And I think he's in a better position now because of it. So I give the MVP to Will.
Awesome. McKenna.
Yeah, I have to echo Greg here. I need to also give my MVP point to Will. I think he just did a great job. He's been like beasting every challenge, except for Jeremy's challenge, but that gets the better of a lot of us. So he just really drove home that Parker vote. He flipped on Andrew. I don't see another option here but Will.
Well, I'm not gonna do a clean sweep. I can't do it.
There's a lot of other people who like could get some love.
As McKenna knows very well. When we all play like games outside of this, I hate clean sweeps.
Yes.
So I refuse to. I always figure out what's gonna happen. I vote the other way just to not have a perfect shutout. But Will's very deserving. I want to just preface that. I think he shifted the board at the exact right time for him. He's now in, even with his name being the other name, I still think he's in actually one of the more safest spots in this short-term period.
His
of
name has
anyone on the
always been
cast.
the other name, so it's like it's almost like nothing new to him.
But he also like avoided. I mean, he only went to one tribal
Right.
pre-merge, right? Like So, but you're right. He was always considered.
Yeah, but now he's in a spot where I feel more people are willing to work with him,
Mhm.
not just work around him, and that's a big difference.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give my MVP to Jonathan for successfully being able to hide how close he truly still is with the rest of Serpone from Ruken, which helped sow the events that we saw in these 2 episodes, to the point where in the second round, no one was uttering a Serpone name. It was only Ruken's on the table. I think he's still setting himself up very well, where he's going to have both original tribes wanting to work with him. And now it's just a matter of what does he do with that and who does he take out along the way that will benefit him to get to the end.
Yep.
So with that, Will jumps up to tie for a tie in second place with 2 MVPs alongside Victoria and Mike. McKenna and Kiley each have 1 MVP, and now tied for first is Andrew and Jonathan with 3 MVPs. But now it's the audience's turn. We will have our post on Instagram sometime this weekend. Put your votes in for who you think the MVP of this week was. We will announce it at the latter half of our next recap. But that does wrap up our time here. So please remember, if you like this video, press the like, press that subscribe, and press that bell for notifications so you are aware whenever any of our new videos drop. Our episodes typically go out Mondays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Exits will be seen on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and of course recaps every Sunday night at 8 p.m. with me and 2 guests. And also follow all of our socials. You'll see it at the end of this video. And that wraps up everything here. That's McKenna, that's Greg, I'm out, and we'll see you all next time.